The first memes was the paint we put on walls, in the caves, in the town square. Tell the king he's soft. It's that jester talk, the nesting dolls, his messages evolve. Then mimetic gets kinetic when we scribble sketches in the palm of the masses. Said we influence their thoughts. We just say what people thinking in the.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sunset Circuit podcast. Today we have very special guest, Kane Mayfield. Kane, I've known Kane for a number of years now, and he just published a truly amazing book, The Creature From Jekyll Island, Pepe Edition. It's a must read, and we're kind of going to talk about that and just Bitcoin in general and the Sunset Circuit events. Kane, thank you so much.
My pleasure. I should have on sunglasses because I'm a fake author, so I should have I should do one of these. Now I feel more Hollywood. I'm going to give you a lot more pretentious answers.
Perfect.
When I was thinking in my mindscape about how to properly personify the frog, a lot ran through my mind, and frankly, Bitcoin needed this book, and it's embarrassing it took this long for it to be written. All right, now that's out of the way.
Actually true though. It's an amazing story, Kane. I feel like this book needs to be in every high school as like mandatory reading because it's, the kids would find it interesting. It's just written in a way that makes Bitcoin accessible to anyone that reads it. So
well, funny enough, I'm sending a copy to Sweetgrass High School in Big Timber, Montana.
Oh,
so
nice.
a portion of the book takes place in Big Timber.
Yeah.
I've never been. I've never been to Big Timber, Montana, but it's a lot of very specific stuff that I had to research for there. So I was just sitting one day and I was like, worst they could say is no. So I just called the high school and I was like, hey, can I speak to the librarian? And they're like, sure. And they, transferred me, probably a parent. And it's like, hey, this is the Sweetgrass Library. This is the librarian speaking. I'm like, hey, this is about to be a weird phone call. So I wrote this book about y'all. And I kind of explained it to her, and she's like, okay, so it's about Big Timber. Well, no, it takes place in Big Timber. And she's like, have you ever been here? And I was like, no, it's nowhere. Why would I ever go there? No. But the person lives on, where Hooper Street is? She's like, I know where Hooper Street is. I'm like, they live on Hooper Street. And the work of the money, my husband worked for Stillwater. And I'm like, really? So it's this whole thing, and she's going to put it in there. Plus, the book is augmented reality. So when you scan the cover and some of the pictures, they come to life and play music. And if you're trying to get tablet children to read a physical book, yeah, you can, I told you so, or you can give them something that's worth tuning in for. So why not use some of this technology that's laying around and let that be a good catalyst for kids to want to read physical books again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although I must admit, I've been listening to the audio instead of reading. I've read a bit of the physical one. I have a copy, but the voices you do is so amazing. The audio experience is probably the best. And I've listened to, thousands of audiobooks over the years, and this is my favorite one yet.
Well, thank you. Well, I was sitting right here on this stool, and a few times I'd catch myself because you hear I'm doing voices. So it's like, right head up now, gonna go around the bed. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is either gonna be cool or this will be the most embarrassing thing I've ever done. Because there's no audience. My wife's not coming in here saying, hey, that was a good take. It's just me in a silo doing funny voices and then trying not to repeat them for other people. It's like, hey, we're going to go over there and get some of the, what do you mean? Federal money. Hey, man, I said, where's my money? The federal government. And I'm sitting here doing all these voices and I feel crazy. But I have faith that the quality of the story kind of will be the glue that holds my silly voices together.
Yeah, it does. And the silly voices make it way more impactful, and they're not silly. You're a very talented storyteller. So I guess maybe let's just back up, and can you give us a background of like how you got involved in Bitcoin and a little bit about maybe your rap career.
Yeah, at your house. That's easy. At your house. Skrilla, I've known Skrilla since '09 or 2010, somewhere around there. But I don't, it's why it's always weird for me, like the juxtaposition of rare Skrilla and the guy I know. I know DJ J Skrilla from Interloop Records. I know him. I met the other guy way later. And the other guy was calling me when I lived in Mexico, but anyone I know who did with Bitcoin was drug dealers. It was drug dealer money. Now, I'm not saying that's all it was. That's all I knew it for. The only people who ever brought up Bitcoin to me in like 2012 were drug dealers that were friends of mine. They were like, yo, got this magic. I'm like, so you got computer? Because mining Bitcoin and what Bitcoin is depends on who explains it to you. So I got a fifth party terrible. So he's like, computer parts. And I'm like, so you're trading cocaine for computer parts. And so there's internet money. And it's from internet circuits. You're going to jail. All this is bad. You're all going to jail. This seems very traceable and very, very not good. So when he's like, hey man, I want to talk to you about Bitcoin. And I'm like, I'm in Mexico. You think I'm about to be the plug? I got cartel. I'm not doing this with you. Hey, I got to go. Click. So every time he talked about Bitcoin, we would talk for 10, 20 minutes. Then he'll be like, yo, so I'm into this Bitcoin thing. I would just find a reason to get off the phone. And then when I got back to the States, I came over to your house. And we went into his office, and I still have a picture from that day. I know what day it was. I took a picture and put it on Instagram of his bookshelf. And there was like an MP and Mobb Deep and Bitcoin books. And I was like, well, this seems relevant. Click. But he said you can take pictures and put songs in them and put them on the internet and people are going to buy them. And I was like, yeah, sure. And come to find out, it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And I had to kind of hold on to Skrilla like a buoy because I didn't understand anything for a long time. I didn't get anything. We get your Mega Man mask and your ethereoids, and but that's not Bitcoins. That's another coins that's not as good according to some people. And then I'm like, all right. So when you finally figure it out and you find your why in the information, that's what everyone should be doing. And that's why it's important for people to divorce themselves from other people's talking points. You have to find your why or none of this is going to stick. If you don't know why Bitcoin's important to you, it won't be. It'll just be a money thing, or it'll be a season thing, or it'll be something you do for a little bit, like a hobby that you abandon, and it shouldn't be. So when I found my why, everything that I knew about finance, I learned on Wall Street. So everything I knew about fire was taught to me by a crooked bale of hay. And now I have this thing that is logical and goes with what I know to be true and not what they've shown me to be true. And I go, well, this is great. And in that part, you hit the Bitcoin education where you start hating shit. You hate the Federal Reserve. You hate inflationary tax. You hate Wall Street. You start hating stuff. There's no way. And I know I'm rambling, but one last thing: the apple juice. If you said to me, "Hey, Kane, you want some apple juice?" and I go, "Ew, yuck, disgusting," and you go, "You don't like but you like apples?" Yeah, never tastes like apple juice though. Well, what's apple juice taste like? Well, it's warm and salty and it's disgusting. That sounds like pee. I think somebody been giving you pee. You've had an apple, right? Yeah. Are they good? Yeah, the apples are delicious. Have you never thought the juice of an apple doesn't yeah, that's all. I've always wondered about that. And you realize they've been giving you pee to drink. The resentment is strong. The price of a car in my lifetime, a new car, has tripled in my lifetime. And I'm not that old. The price of a new car when I was a kid, a brand new car like a Honda, 16, 17,000. Then when I was maybe a little bit older, but a young man, it was, 25, 35,000. The price of a new car now was the price of a high-end luxury, like a foreign car, like a Maserati when I was a kid. And $250,000, that's a house. That's a house. But the price of a house is now the price of commercial real estate. That's not because money is things are more expensive. It's money is less expensive. So I think Bitcoin fixes that. I believe these things wholeheartedly, but explaining it to people through pressure or shouting or the things that we do because we're passionate is counterproductive. So I wanted the story to tell people why it's important through characters you can relate to. You can relate to a coal miner. You can relate to a blue-collar guy. You can relate to somebody who's, well, I know what I got and it's not a lot. You can relate to your granddad. You can relate to this guy. He's like, well, I don't got nothing but this pot and these beans, but they're mine and the government can't have them. And you go, you tell them because that they can't have them. So that's where I am now with my kind of like my Bitcoin journey. So the book crescendos with how I feel, but it was written in how I felt.
Yeah. And in terms of, I've heard Skrilla, I don't normally call him that. I call him his first name, but he'll be annoyed if I use it on the podcast.
It's super weird when you do it.
Yeah.
Super weird. I don't call him by his first name. Every time you call him that, I shake my Etch-a-Sketch and try to forget it again.
But I've heard him try and tell so many of his friends about Bitcoin over the years. He just saw it as a way for people that were, a way for people to help themselves generally. But you're the only one. Well, no, a few of them have got it, like maybe 3, but yeah, it's rare for someone to actually grab onto it, and you kind of just dove right in, made it your career, became a full-time artist, podcaster, and now author.
It's two things at the same time. It was easier for me because I'm both of those things, because I'm crazy. Most people are only one of those things because they're sane. Most people are, it's the razor and the briefcase. I'm the razor and I'm the briefcase. I was a kid that was thrown into Wall Street. So I was an 18-year-old stockbroker. I understood what a CMO was. I understood what these things were. I knew how tranches were cut up. I knew what private placements and PPOs and oil and gas, and I understood. I had to, for work, I had to know this world so I could live in it safely. But then there's the side of me that still holds a razor in my mouth. Bitcoin is both. And what happens where we get upset with, some people are mad at like how, Core, Knots, and the commercialization of Bitcoin because it lacks the razor. Bitcoin should be threatening. If it's not threatening, someone's doing something wrong. Bitcoin should be a threat. It should make you uncomfortable because it's a hedge against fuckery. When I say, even if you're not investing, because I don't think everyone has the stomach for that. If you're just using Bitcoin as an inflationary hedge, where a portion of my salary goes into this in lieu of a 401k, and as the price of money gets less expensive, the price of Bitcoin gets more expensive, and I come out maybe around where I would have been or a little bit ahead. Bitcoin. But it also says, hey, what they're doing, the money is bad. That's the razor. So no, ETFs are bad. Sorry, I don't believe ETFs are good. They've already probably inflated more than 21 million in ETFs. They've already got more than 21 million represented on the table, and that's why you don't play with the casino. There's a movie, 8mm. It's saying in that movie, you dance with the devil don't change. The devil changes you. So the longer Bitcoin dances with the devil, the more Bitcoin will change, and the less you'll recognize it. And the more it will be only available through custodial wallets, only available through a fiat filter. And self-custody to these people is bad. That's why I love self-custody. That's why I promote self-custody. I think self-custody is the greatest thing ever because Bitcoin is money that didn't get its hands dirty. And despite whatever's in the news today, Bitcoin itself never did that. The US dollar did stuff. Prussian francs did stuff. The euro has done things, and things were done in its name. Bitcoin has a relatively clean track record when it comes to human suffering. So I'm still going to bank on Bitcoin versus anything else because Bitcoin's better than everything else in that respect. And it's fair. No one can steal it or take it without your... It's yours. No unbanking here. It's fucking... I get worked up. This is why I wrote a book. I could be in my kitchen right now yelling this stuff at my wife. She don't give a shit. She's like, I don't care. So buy Bitcoin then. Just leave me alone. I want to make dinner. I want to tell people through a story, and I want the beast to be not so much a mythical comic book figure. I want it to be laid bare. In chapter 13, there's this conversation where the beast talks and he lays out what fiat is. And he says, you know, we take fake money that we print and trade it for minerals. I want cobalt from Kenya. Print, click, fund the revolution. And then they'll pay me back in my inflated currency that they have none of. That I print at will. That's fiat. That's what the dollar is. It's not the greatest thing in the world when you look at it through that lens, but we have to deal with it, so it's good to be 50-50.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, what made you, I mean, I understand you wanted to do the book to get your story out there, but like, when did this start forming in your head? And, you know, what made you actually get the courage or, you know, the gumption to say, okay, I'm sitting down, I'm going to actually write this thing?
Don't. Listen, if you let me, because I'm a chatty Cathy, I will create a fanciful backstory about how I always knew and this was always going to happen. It wasn't. I'm mad dumb. I have 2 semesters of 13th grade. They were not consecutive. Okay? They were years apart. I made a picture, which, funny enough, was the cover. The cover of this book with letters and everything. This, nothing added to it. Just the cover of this book was a Bitcoin stamp. That's it. I made some art. Here's the actual story. I did an ordinals project. It didn't go great. We made money. If you told me 3 years ago how much I made, I'd have been like, oh my God. Oh. But I had expectations of how much I wanted to make. I fell way below those. I was very depressed. I got in the hospital because I was stressed out. It was a whole thing. I was very, very sad, right? I was disillusioned. I don't know what to do with myself, so I go back to just making memes. So I'm just making memes. That picture was one of them. Arwen and H, the stamps guys, were like, Kane, you got to do a stamp. And Arwen finally said, you always talk about how you're on all these chains. You're on near protocol. You can't do a stamp and you're on near protocol. And I had no answer for that. Arwen's extremely convincing when he feels like it. So he got me, and I was like, I could do a stamp. I'll do a stamp. I'm not against stamps, you know? So I did a stamp. Part of the deal was they'll do 2 for me. And the other one, you know, was nice. So I did my one, then I did the other one. The second one was the cover. In the space, Logic, who's in the stamps community and fake rares, says, hey, Kane, that's really cool. Where can I read the book? Because I just made this because I wanted so if you think about this like a picture, I wanted this to look like a 70s graphic novel, the 70s sci-fi paperbacks my brother read, like The Creature from the Lagoon and all that. So I thought that would be cool. And I knew the Creature from Jekyll Island because I'm in finance. I love financial history. So he says, where's the book? And I said, what book? He says, the book, your stamp. It's a book. Where's the book at? And I go, oh, that's a picture. But then my mind said, man, again, pure hubris. I've never written a book. My mind is a tornado factory.
No, it was telling you the truth. You could write a book, and you wrote the best damn book in the world, Kane.
So here's what happens. So normally I have 15 ideas a day. I do none of them, but I have them. And the butterfly of my imaginationings will knock around in my dumb nugget for 40 minutes until the spider of my doubt eats it, or the spider of my laziness. I got lots of spiders, tons of spiders. But in the midst of the knocking around, my wife comes home early. And I'm like, oh, hey, you're home. Yo, take this kid. I'm going to go write a book real quick. And she says, you're going to do what? Yeah, I'm going to write a book. And she goes, oh, okay, weirdo, go write a book. And I went in my office, and it's Friday afternoon. By Sunday at 3 in the morning, because I just don't sleep when I'm on something. At Sunday at 3 in the morning, I have the first 12 chapters. By the following Tuesday, Wednesday, I have 21 chapters. And by the next Saturday, I have 75-80% of what's in the book. And then I had to figure out how to sculpt it. Now, the ending changed. She stopped reading it because I kept changing stuff. But I kept adding stuff. And Skrilla will tell you, every time I'll send him, because I'm like, hey, I deleted it. I sent you another one. So all you see is this new message in it going from version 4, 6, 12, 18, 36, 94. And it's like the version keeps going up because I keep making it longer. By the time I'm done, I have a almost 600-page novel full of lore, and but I don't know if it's good, so I have to give it to my friends. Like, hey, please read this, and please listen to my demo. Way easier than please read my 600-page novel. It's a big ask. So the audiobook is done now, and now I have there's a whole test at the back of it, which is really cool. I'm very excited. I'm very proud of what it is, and serious Bitcoiners who have read it have given me very positive feedback, which means a lot because I'm still very new when it comes to Bitcoin.
Well, I'd say, I don't know if you just learned a lot in the process of writing it, but I was super impressed with your knowledge across the board. It was, no one that didn't understand every piece of this whole, magic internet money could have come up with this. So I'd say, even if, I don't think you're new, but it's, the understanding's all there. And you have to understand it to be able to teach it to others. And that's what the book does.
Sorry, what was your question? When there's audio things, I get confused very easily.
Oh, no worries. So the beast in the book, tell us, for someone who hasn't read it yet and, should read the book, tell us about what the beast is. And a few times it really gave me goosebumps as I'm listening.
So the beast is, without, I don't want to spoil it, but it's there's an old deity. The old Christianity religion had a lot of fun things in it. Mammut. People don't talk about Mammut anymore, which is essentially the greed version of the devil. And that's what that is. And as long as there's people, there will always be greed. As long as there's stuff, there will always be that feeling. There's an old saying, when your goat goes missing, your neighbor's stew smells suspicious. That's just human nature. Mm-hmm. The beast, as far as the book goes, is in relation to the Crown family. The Crown family is old. It goes back, to the early 1100s. And they've been miners. They mine things. They mine gold and rubies and silver and diamonds and coal and oil, everything. They pull things from the ground. That's what they do. And they have this coin, and say it's like this, and when they're getting close to value or gold or a good vein of ore, it gets hot. But when the king of Spain starts playing with the pieces of 8 and deflationary tactics or inflationary tactics, it goes cold. When you're trading your silver to a guy and he's trying to shortchange you, it'll get a little chill to it. You go, that's not a good deal. So that's who they are. They value scarcity. I mean, they're just a metaphor, but yeah, they value scarcity. They believe in scarcity. The beast is abundance. The frog, which is almost like this eternal spirit guy that's like chuckling the whole way through, and the people see the book and look, oh, it's a book about Pepe, and I'm like, no, it's the frog really ain't even in it. He's just kind of there looking and laughing because it's like,
and remembering what.
Yeah, there is no such thing as infinity. There's no such quantity of infinity gold. There's no infinity. There's no infinity. I love my son, but there's a finite amount of hugs I can give him because I'll just leave the planet one day. There's not infinity of anything. To say that there is, or to say that you can print things into oblivion, is laughable. So the beast's answer to scarcity is endless abundance. It's fake. It's a lie. And the frog knows it. So the frog is kind of watching like it's seen this lie before. So it's like, what are you guys going to do this time? And people are going for it. They're like, oh yeah, the Federal Reserve, please take my money. Give me faith in the market. Restore confidence. And the Crowns are like, that's the family of the Crowns. They're like, no, that ain't real. People's promises aren't worth more than the paper they're written on. The frog remembers what gold forgets, and gold forgot its scarcity. Gold forgot it's supposed to be scarce. It's not supposed to be readily available. For convenience, we trade off reality. Like that's what ETFs are. Everyone could bid a Bitcoin. Well, everyone can't get Bitcoin. That's what makes it scarce. That's what makes it valuable. because you can't get it. And for you to have some, I have to sell you some of mine, which means I have less. So I'm going to charge you what I think that'll be worth. Not the Bitcoin right now, how much it'll be worth for me to not have it. You're paying me to not have Bitcoin. So that's what selling Bitcoin is. You paying me not to have it. And if Bitcoiners view Bitcoin that way, we'll never have a problem. But it's like, oh no, I'm trading, I'm day trading Bitcoin. And it's like, you day trade bullshit stocks that they print at will. You day trade fiat. It's Hodder Pig, who's a very fun guy. We were at PubKey once, and my buddy One, a dope producer, was like, yo, because Hodder Pig's doing one of his rants. And One's like, yo, but you could buy a burger and a beer with Bitcoin right here. That's pretty cool, right? That's fire. And Hodder Pig's like, no, that's not fire. It's not cool. He pulls out a knot because he's Hodder Pig. He goes, you spend your filthy fiat on burgers and fries. You hodl your Bitcoin. And he's right. So the tale of these two things coming to a head, the entity of greed becoming the Federal Reserve, summoned by the wealthiest people in the country and the world, creating this thing that prints money when it wants, isn't federal, isn't reserved. That was the original book. That's the Creature from Jekyll Island. But then it goes into Bretton Woods. Then it goes into Nixon severing us from the gold standard. Wall Street crashes in the 80s and the late 90s. All of the financial things that have happened have benefited this system. It seems like there's checks and balances. It's a show. Like right now, the Epstein list. That's a show. That's an absolute show. That's a show because if they really want to do something about it, they could. But they'd rather give you this melodrama, this reality show that plays out on your social media timeline to keep you watching this and distracted while they do other things and pass laws and bury evidence. While you're looking at Epstein's jail cell footage, they're emptying his ranch. It's watch the magic keys, don't see the sleight of hand. And that's the way the financial system works. That's the way government normally works. That's the way most things we see work. Another reason why the book resonates is because Bitcoin people are suspicious. Bitcoin people don't trust entities like the government, and I have a lot in common with I'm a Bitcoiner. I didn't know I was, but I'm a Bitcoiner. So I fit the mold, and the way I write, they're like, yeah, damn right. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. It's like being really racist that I wrote a book about black people, and that's what I did. I just did it for the government and not, racism. So it's like, if you're mad racist and you're reading, it's like, that's just how it is right there, man. It's the truth. That's the book about Bitcoin that I wrote where it's like, yeah, they're fucking evil. Government, yeah, they're playing with you. Yeah, they're fucking devaluing your money. Yeah, they want to take your Bitcoin. And it's like, it's fucking everything. Good. That's a good ass book, Kane. And I go, yeah, thank you. I do my best. So at the end, it goes into some future predicting, which is important. And I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry, but it goes into future predicting. Executive Order 6102 digital. The regulation, the people that are going to start saying that self-custody is illegal, the bill in California that passed, that's in the book. Like, as my predictions start hitting the timeline, and I'm like, hey,
already a lot of them have it. Just since when did you finish the book? Was it like October or
August.
Something? Or August of 25? And yeah, just it's not even a year, and a lot of these have yeah. That's crazy.
They're moving quick. So, to not be ready for the playbook is, in my opinion, foolish. Oh, yeah, of course.
Was it, I don't know, it's one of my favorite books. And there was some, just the coin changing and, oh, there you go. Yeah.
So this is funny enough. Here's an exclusive for you. This subconsciously, and it's on my screen, it's backwards, but it's the Messiah's Handbook. This is the book inside the book of another book called Illusions, The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah. That's one of my favorite books.
Oh, I'll have to check
and
that
in
out.
that book, there's quotes. Kind of the same way I have excerpts from the grimoire, they have quotes. So this is a book of all those quotes.
Wow.
I'm going to do one for the grimoire, too. Because I think that that's a good way to... Allegory is a great way to transfer wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I was reading it, I guess it's a little bit morbid, but I was thinking, or as I was listening, I guess in the car, I was thinking about what I'm going to get, what will my kids get when I die? And a copy of your book there's just something about it that it's like the information that needs to be passed down through the ages. Like your book is that grimoire in a way. Mm-hmm. Oh, I lost
There we
you.
go. No, there we go. So
Okay.
no, thank you. That's a crazy big compliment. I think the best thing about the book is that anyone can read it. It's written to be, 8-year-old, 9-year-old. There's some scarier topics in the Lindbergh baby, and it gets a little crazy around then, but that happened. Like a buddy of mine and I had a mock argument. He's a friend and he wants the best for me, but I'm like, that's not realistic. And he's like, this book is going to be a New York Times bestseller. And I'm like, nah. This book has way too much stuff in it that someone's going to sue me for. And don't get me wrong, my copyright section, ironclad. My copyright section is amazing. My copyright section is, I love my copyright section. But it's, how do I put this? That's not working. I don't even need these anymore. The copyright section is, it's just a tug of the earlobe to say, oh, I know what I did. I know what I said. I know Epstein's in the book. That's how Leon Black got taken down. People don't know Leon. People talk about like Jeff Bezos. Leon Black is the top of the pyramid when you start go, who could be a dark overlord? Leon Black ran Apollo Global Management. For people who don't know, that's Drexel Burnham Lambert. That's the people who raided Revlon in the 80s. You know what raiding Revlon in the 80s equivalent? It's like taking over Apple today. Revlon, the making up of making people beautifuls in the 80s when everyone painted their face like a Thai hooker. I'm talking crazy. Now, to raid Revlon with Ivan Boesky and what? And Michael Milken, who went to jail, handed the entire business to his right hand, which was Leon Black. And these are the guys that have been running money forever. These are the guys who help shape legislation. These are the guys who do a lot of big and powerful things. His connection to Epstein years ago made him have to step down. You don't step down people like Leon Black. He doesn't care. There's nothing you can say about someone like that makes him step down. That's how I knew the Epstein connection was crazy, because it clipped Leon Black. So that's in the book. A lot of stuff's in the book. There's important things that you should know about the financial history of the dollar. Not just America, the dollar. That's in the book. That teaches it to you in a fun way. Kind of like if I did... It's like my financial version of drunk history. Because I'll tell you how things work, and I'll say it in my own fun. I'll make it fun. But rather than me, who's going to use a lot of profanity, I'll use these characters to illustrate what happens. And that's why, the government wants to launch their own version of a digital token. You think they don't want to be able to pay rebels in totally controllable electronic cyber money that they can turn off whenever they want? When they say, hey, we paid you for this, but you need to return this and give this hostage to this country. It's like, we don't give it, we're going to be our own. Turn the money off. Now the money doesn't work. They would love that. That would make them very happy. Plus, they can stop having Obama send airplanes full of cash. It's true.
Yeah.
I'm crazy.
Crazy world.
I'm crazy. The book's crazy. This is all crazy.
Did you have to research a lot for this, or did you just already know everything in it? Because I would never be able to put it together at all, but just having it there, I learned a lot listening to it. Yeah.
Well, thank you. So the real answer is yes and no. There's the Bitcoin stuff, a lot of that stuff I heard, but I don't know. The financial stuff I knew, a lot of the world things I knew or knew of. But I'm tidbit Tommy, I know a little bit about a bunch of shit. I have like Jeopardy knowledge. I'm not all the way smart in any one category. I know a little bit about a bunch of stuff, and my job has made me able to have at least functional conversational knowledge about a lot of different kinds of topics. And then my interests are always going to go esoteric conspiracies and shit like that. But the reason why there isn't more things like this is because I needed AI. Like when I say AI, I wrote the book with AI, people think I said, AI, write me a book about this, this. Go ahead. Boop, boop, boop. Got it. Well, put it to Amazon. It doesn't work that way. AI doesn't write that good. Also, the book's written in my language because I wrote it. So what I did was...
Jeff had told me that you'd used AI with it, and I was, I didn't start reading it or listening to it right away. And then when I did dive in, it was so obviously not, it doesn't look like it's written by AI. Maybe you used it to like clean up language or help with editing and stuff like that. But the ideas certainly are not generic.
Well, it's both. So I told AI, you're a terrible author, and that's why I hate the way you write. And AI is like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. And I said, well, nothing you can do about it. Your personality for authorship is this Reddit style Gen Z millennial, everything smells like two things and one of them's an emotion. It smells like stale coffee and despair, and it hit like a physical blow, reacted as though he'd been slapped. And I listen to, that's like my soap opera. I listen to bullshit, fake stories about people quitting their job on YouTube. That's just AI slop. It's my favorite thing. I don't know why I like it, but I know that it's bad. So I said, here's how we're going to write it. I'm going to tell you stuff. You're going to question everything I tell you. What I respond to you with is canon. So I'll say the Crown family has been around since the 1100s. They hold wisdom. They have a grimoire that writes it down. They have a coin. Well, here's the questions. And I answer the questions. It questions my answers, and I correct it with 15 pages of canon. So while the book is like 500-600 pages, I have about 1,400 pages of filler, background. I built the world first. So once I built the world, the story was easy. But I had to build the world. So I spent the first few days just world building. So like the first 12 chapters was all the world. And then I started, okay, well, this can be expanded. So as I expanded on the ideas, the chapters got longer. But the chapters were mad short at first. It was like a short story. So the chapters got longer and longer and longer. And then there's more chapters because the world got more detailed. It's like a picture from blurry to clear. But I'm the one dialing it in. And I'm the one deciding what's what and what's where. And the Beast isn't a cartoon. He's not Oil Can Harry. He's money. The guy, the male emissary, he ain't kidding. That's why he says Muammar Gaddafi went from running literal oil fields. He went from playing Sultan to getting beat in the street by men in sandals for less currency infractions. And he controlled literal oil fields. That's true. Muammar Gaddafi started talking hot about that dollar. He wanted to make his own currency. He wanted to make his own oil dollar. And they were like, okay, all right. And next thing you know, bing, boom, pow, beat in the street by men in sandals, he's being executed. The Sultan of Brunei don't talk like that, which is why he's still sitting there. It's not. These aren't things that people don't know. They're just things that we have heard and we forget because American Idol's on. Or did you hear what so-and-so said? Or this particular celebrity is having a baby implanted in another person and they're going to raise it with monks. And did you hear the baby's name? The baby's name is going to be Starship. Isn't that distracting and interesting? And that's the world we live in. We live in a world with 9,700 distractions. All I'm doing is taking berries off of a tree you've seen before and lining them all up linear. Threading it together with Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin don't even start until like chapter
I think the
8.
12 or 13. Oh, maybe. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, well, will start. So here's a fun thing for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When they're building when she's got the math, they can't sit on the mat until they give a math equation. I love that.
Bite Your Coin and Satoshi Nakamoto, who is like where the name come from. That's all fun stuff because I feel like anyone who sat through the first half of this movie deserves the fun of the second half because the book don't really get fun until the end.
Oh no, and even at the beginning, it had me captivated.
Yeah. Well, it's a sharp contrast from Mr. Henderson jumping over the counter at the bank because there's a bank run to James P. Foxworthy, the third to the fourth power, trying to get Pepinardo. By the way, Pepinardo's in it. Trying to get Pepinardo out of jail. Pepinardo gets locked up in my book. There's an arc of here's all the stuff that I think you need to know, but I chop it up into dime bags and feed it to you slowly throughout the course of the book. But there's also the best part to me is the pages from the grimoire that illustrate not only the historical things that have happened, whether it's tulip bulbs or the South Sea bubble in London. There's really aggressively relevant things that have happened financially in history that we can go, well, look at this and look at today. Look at this and look at today. And I got those, but I wrap them in these like narrations from some historical family member that was there. So it's like Forrest Gump, the crowns, where all these things are happening and there's always a crown there to tell you what happened. So they're Forrest Gumping along the thing. I hope people read it. Oh, by the way, in the audiobook, if you listen, you have to listen. You can't skip. If you listen from chapter 1 to I think chapter 8, there's a secret in the player. It goes into Nakamoto mode. And there's a matrix rain and everything turns green.
Oh, I've just been listening from your Telegram, so I'll have to check that out.
I'll send you the player. So I just this thing, and I know we don't have a lot of time, but this thing, it's the first token gated counterparty token. So that's how it works. It's a counterparty token that is token gated that you can't access the audiobook if you don't own the creature from the Pepe creature. If you don't own the fake rare, it won't open. So that's a new thing.
That's cool. I thought that the dissemination of audio files would get, like, I thought by now that would be how everything was sold, but it's still early for those kind of, token gated things. But I think it is still the future.
I'm gonna put it on Audible, but I differentiate, like, the token is the art to me. The book represents a very small window, a very interesting moment in time that most people don't have this. I'm gonna clip the second editions in a minute and have only third editions, which won't be as grandiose, because that's going to make these more special. But if you have one of these, that's special. Because to me, it's just a big paper NFT. So rarity matters. I believe in scarcity. So I'm going to clip them because I make them scarce that way. The token is owning it. So if you don't have the book, but you can go to the token on Counterparty and read the book for free. The PDF is right there, and you can click, and just read the PDF. That's fine. But owning it, to me, is a different matter. So to own the token means you have it. Ownership matters. There's a big difference between having money and owning money. And I wanted all of the things that I'm doing to be universal in that respect, where it's not just, I wrote a book about these things, but, when it comes to my thing, it's definitely a free-for-all. Everyone can just, whatever you want to do. No. Yeah, you can buy the book with fiat because it's Amazon and I don't run a printing press. But as far as the token, nah. The audiobook, I'll put it on Audible because that's a nice thing to do for people, but you don't fucking own it. And if one day they decide my book is subversive, because Microsoft said my book is subversive, Microsoft will not
They
help me.
already have?
Yeah, Microsoft did it when I was writing it. Yeah, I know exactly what 2 parts I added and then experimented with taking out to see if it would change anything. I needed help editing. I don't know how to edit. And, my brain's a tornado. AI keeps it together. So, like, I needed AI help to do the editing and stuff like that. And I was getting sleepy looking at all the words. So, I'm not that bright. So, the Microsoft, when I added a few parts, was like, yeah, this violates our terms and conditions. We can't help you with this.
Like,
This
you
is
couldn't use Microsoft Word?
Microsoft Copilot.
Okay.
They said that this book contains subversive material.
Well,
Which it does.
It is subversive, I guess. But
If my Bitcoin
the
book...
truth is subversive.
Yeah, if Microsoft is super comfortable with my Bitcoin book, is it really a Bitcoin book? Or am I making some sort of a lukewarm VC honeypot? I would like to take the images and the book and the pictures and the stories and even the video, the 16 tons video that sits with the token. It's about coal miners. That's another reason why the story was about coal miners. I just made a piece about coal miners and it was still in my head. I want to make an exhibit around it somewhere at some point. Maybe Tennessee would be amenable to it, but I want to make it. I think there's enough there for an exhibit. But
that would be so cool.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of pictures. If you look, when you see the audiobook, there's a lot of pictures that you've never seen before. They're not even in the actual book. I made them just for the audiobook. So there's that. There's a test. There's a Pepe Cicada test that if you pass this 21 question, it's super hard, by the way. If you pass a 21 question test, you can unlock 3 things. 1, a secret chapter of the book that no one's ever heard before. 2, a little key that tells you in the chapter there's a seed phrase.
Oh, wow.
And 3, cold storage. So there's a little cold storage button, and when you hit it, it says, hey, you passed the test. Congratulations. You've now earned the right to self-custody. So you can download a version of this player that will work on your phone, tablet, laptop. It's a different version of the player. It's cool, it's sleek, and it has dust in it.
Oh, nice.
So it's a small, and if you're going on an airplane, obviously if you don't want to pay for internet, pass the test. Now you have a full-on audio book that'll take you all the way through whatever your flight is.
Amazing. And maybe explain what dust is too for anyone that might not know.
Oh, it's a Bitcoin-infused album. So my buddy Bitcoin Audio, who is way smarter than me, he built a piece of hardware that takes Bitcoin and turns...
Just so you know, now when you say that, you always say, oh, way smarter than me. I'm not that sharp or things like that. As soon as I dove into the book, I was like, that motherfucker, this guy is a genius. And like, Jeff says you are, he has said that all the time, but you're so humble. But there's no one smarter than you out there, I don't believe.
I have a lot of... I'm fast. I'm really, really fast. What I don't know, I can convince you I know by being quick and being full of confidence. But there's an ocean of difference between me and someone like Rad who can sit down in a room by himself and write code and build things. He built a machine that turns Bitcoin into sound. He did that long before he met me or any of these other people. And he's just a guy who, and there's another guy who just does amazing things. I refuse to let that not be a big deal. So he loves me because I'm always like, you see what he did? You see what he did right there? Mad crazy. I can't do that. You can't do that. None of you can do what he just now did. That man's incredible. I also, to my credit, do the same thing for people who make good burritos. I just believe in flowers. I throw flowers all day long. That's why I get free froyo. So, but Dust takes Bitcoin, we sampled it, and we laced it through 10 records. Then we did too good of a job, and you can't hear it because it's just beat boops. So we sprinkle the raw beat boops on top to remind you you're listening to Bitcoin, but it's a Bitcoin-infused album. And it's got a lot of samples of Charlie Munger and people, fuck that guy. I don't care if he's dead. Fuck him. You can't talk hot shit and then die. And then it's like, oh, well, rest in peace. Fuck that guy. Also, you're really good friends with Warren Buffett, who's not a great guy. So, I hang out with drug dealers. Maybe you should be more comfortable with the company you keep if you want people to remember you well. But it has a lot of fun things that are very relevant to Bitcoin and, obviously tokens and stuff. And it's a fake rare, and it came out a couple years ago. And up until that point, it was the dopest thing I did. And now every time I do something, I try to make it better than the last thing I did.
Well, the bar is getting really high. It's exciting to see what's coming next for you.
Fucking coding. I don't know where the guy got built. Well, next is the physical audiobook. So that's the next thing. So I've got the schematics. We're going to 3D print a grimoire looking thing, and we're going to put a Raspberry Pi with a screen. So imagine a book, but when you open it, there's a screen here, and that has the audiobook in it.
Nice.
So we have it. I just submitted to a grant to see if they'll fund it. If not, I'll figure it out some way or another. But I got to just buy some Raspberry Pis and get them working. And I've already got the code for it. It's literally, I'm 90% of the way there. I just got to do it. I'm happy because it keeps me busy and it's fun and people like it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was reading your Amazon reviews, and it was like, I'm not the only one that really liked it. Everyone that reads it seems to be really drawn to it.
There's a guy, Mike, and he says that it's the Atlas Shrugged of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And he keeps saying it, and he won't stop saying it. And I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop him because I'm very vain. And, he's not saying it's Mein Kampf. He's saying it's the Atlas Shrugged of Bitcoin, which is it's a
high praise. I have Atlas Shrugged in my other room.
Yeah, especially for the libertarian community, which, Bitcoin, has a heavy Venn diagram overlap with. And I ultimately, my ego of what I wanted to happen, or even this being a thing that makes me money, is cool, whatever, but ultimately, there's these artifacts in Bitcoin that if you don't have them, then you're almost like not a Bitcoiner. If you don't have the standard, and if you don't have, there's books that are in that number. If you don't have there's certain tokens even that, despite price, take price off the table, having a Nakamoto card says more about the holder than it does about the card. It says you understand this thing and you're a part of this thing. There's these pieces of flair. And I wanted to make a cultural piece of flair. I wanted to make something that when you look, I want someone like you to want to have it in the background of your podcast. Like the same way I have Scarcity and this Core Mega picture here. And you see what's there? I got a Smilano right here. Is peeking. A little Smilano Spider-Man. So, the same way I got an MF Doom Pepe. I want certain things to be, there's cultural relevance. So I wanted it to be culturally relevant. And the only way I think that I can do that from here is to do more promotion, do more stuff. And funny enough, I reached out to Bitcoin Magazine, and it's interesting. They weren't interested, then they were, then they weren't, then they were, then they weren't. So I don't know where that left off at, but hopefully there's
keep following up with them. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do a hardcover, and I'm going to try a couple more times to do it through someone big, because I have ideas of what I want to do, but I think it's about time that I put a hardcover of this out and has all the pictures in it. So I'm going to and it's going to be bigger too, like a bigger, not coffee table, because it's too big of a book to be a coffee table book, but I'm going to make a nice quality hardcover for this because I want people to read the story, man. It's such a real story.
That's how I felt about it once I read it. I just want everyone in the world to read this thing. Yeah.
Well, thank you for reading it, and thank you for the kind words. And I don't know what else I could have done with it. I have a whole second book in my head already.
Wow.
It's the prequel.
Oh, cool.
So I have a whole second book that I just need a reason to make it. So I'll finish this run and hopefully some cool stuff will happen, but I do like the making of books. It's very fun.
Yeah, I feel like not that you hadn't found your calling before, but this as your first book, keep going with it. Oh, it's just
stand-up comedy. Now you're an author, man. What can't you do? Pay T-Mobile on time. So buy the book. That's what I can't do. Buy the book, buy the token, and buy some. if you read, I'm going to tell you right now, the second edition has this thing in it where it says, I'll tell you right now. Second edition has the ISBN number, which is why the spacing is so much better and the pictures are nicer. You definitely paid more for this book due to the luxury paper and the rich text format. This kind of opulence was once reserved for kings and high-ranking clergy. But look at you, thumbing through it like a real aristocrat. Probably got on a monocle. I bet you do. Like a real captain of industry. I should be paying you for looking so good while you read on this big manuscript. You should write a book on how to be balling out of control and on how much eye contact to make while asking the sommelier if those are notes of cardamom you are detecting in your chilled Boone's Farm or whatever rich people drink. Second edition is a big deal. The first edition people have one up on you, so don't stop there. Buy both books. Be a Kane Mayfield maxi. Become a maxi field, and then get the hardcover, then the merch. Then just cash at me like 40 small ones. Bro, you're a patron of the arts. Do you know how fancy that makes you? This is technically a fresh air fund. You can write this off on your taxes probably. Who are we kidding? You don't pay taxes, not because you're a criminal, but because you're so rich, you're still reading this literary hand job, feeling deserving of every compliment. Enjoy the book.
Nice.
The front, it's called front material. I learned that in writing it. The front material of the book is hilarious. So much so that people who don't know me, who just, why is the copyright section so long? And they read it and they go, oh, this is about to be, and then you get into the first 3 chapters and it's mad serious. So like, it gets fun again, like silly at the end. Like chapter 21 is mad funny. So James P. one last thing. James P. Foxworthy is the name I used when I called my mom's job.
Okay.
So Symbol Technologies and Additive Circuits and Amp Axle. My mom was the executive assistant for the CEO. And one day I was like, Mom, you're a secretary. How do you blah, blah? And she's like, I am not a secretary. I am an executive assistant. And I said, okay, what's the difference? The lady who answers the phone when you call, that is my secretary. And I was like, oh, cool flex. But, so back when I was a kid, you're 10 years old. I don't care what you do or what you're doing for a living. I want to make pizza bagels and I don't want to get in trouble for using the toaster oven. So I need you to talk to me. So I'm calling my mom's job and I have to get through her secretary. So I would say, hello, may I speak to Mrs. Mayfield? This is James P. Foxworthy, the third to the fourth power. I met her in Hyannisport at a yachting regatta. And I would just say words I think rich people say to try to get through to my mom. And because they're adults hearing this kid be stupid and they're laughing, they would put me through. I thought I was tricking them. So she'd be like, hello, Mr. Foxworthy. And I'm like, hello, Mrs. Mayfield. This is Mr. Foxworthy. I've got a communique from your son. He wants to use the toaster oven. And she's like, and she'll just be like, don't call my office with this nonsense. But you know, it was me. She's like, everyone knows it's you. But I use that name because I was supposed to be a lawyer. My whole life I was going to be a lawyer. So James P. Foxworthy is finally a lawyer in the book at the very, very end. Nice. So that was kind of like my thing for my mom that I put in the book.
Aw. And I was wondering, do you have like a like that the way that the coin always gets cold or hot? Do you have a sense like that, like a sixth sense of your own? Like maybe it's just your heart. You don't need an actual coin, but like something, a barometer that tells you, you know, if a deal is good or bad or a person's trustworthy or not. Because that was what resonated a lot with me in the book, the way that you would describe people. And I don't know if it's because I worked in the financial industry for a while as well, but the way you just say, like, he smiled, like he's been saying these words, or just the way that people could talk. Or one guy said, you know, or the wife, you know, I think it was Jonah's wife said to him, you don't talk much. And Jonah said, well, not around these people who talk for a living. And there were a lot of little nuances to the way that you know, elaborated the characters. And I was just wondering if you have that, like a coin or some kind of barometer yourself for.
I think we all do. I think we all do. Mine is tuned The reason the book reads the way it does is because mine's tuned to that language. I was a stockbroker. I was a mortgage broker. I worked, so like AmeriQuest Mortgage called, I worked for AmeriQuest. Kimberly Securities wrecked the Hendersons. I know I know guys from Kimberly Securities. I know guys from Stratton Oakmont. I'm a Long Island stockbroker. I know that world really well. I also did mortgages. I know what they told you. I know what the AVM values were.
Yeah.
So that world and those people and the people that coast through the Gulf Stream of those verticals. The kid that smile has been opening doors for him since prep school. I've met him many times.
Mm-hmm.
Many times. He doesn't understand why you wouldn't take the deal. The fuck you mean? No. No. This? You want this? This is a hovel. You're living in a hovel with your kid. Is that the best for your family? We fucking stupid? Like your father died a drunk. You want to live this way? And it's like, my father, he's a nice enough guy from what look, come on, look where you at. What are you fucking talking? This is working with the system, making some fucking money. This can change the game, baby. Come on. Of course you're going to take it. And then he has to ride in that car out of town thinking like, because he doesn't get it. Because for some people, and this is where it does resonate for people, especially those who work their way into those industries. Certain things ain't for sale. Everybody ain't for sale. Everybody's not a prostitute. Everybody won't turn tricks. Everybody won't do what you say. You can't buy everyone. And that's what made the Wall Street bets when they almost killed that hedge fund. That's what made them strong. That's what makes Bitcoin strong. That's what makes certain pockets of the NFT space, fakes, rares, danks, cocos, woja, that makes those things strong because they refuse to bend to outside pressure. You have to be anti-fragile if you want to stand a chance in these circumstances. So, yeah, I have a barometer. It's a bullshit tester. I lied for a living. So, like, I know what they sound like. That's not even to say like I'm hard to sell. I'm very easy to sell. You tell me a sexy story, I'll buy anything. I'm a lay down. But when you try to, like I told before me and my, well, I'll leave her out of it. There's women I've dated that have tried manipulation. Right, stupid, silly shit, like to get me something from the store shit. And it's like, that's not gonna fucking work on me. You crazy? What are you doing? That's not, wait, let me explain something to you. Do you think that's good? Let me show you how to really do that. And they go, you're like dark. No, that's the higher version of the karate you just tried to use on me. I can smell the fucking brimstone in the cologne. I know when it's coming. When it's a new product, a new thing, I can see. When you do the magic, you see the distractions. So this book just says, here are some of the distractions they have used. Here's how this family sees through it. But it's not a real family, so it's just like, here's how you can see through it. And whatever your token is. Hey, what's up, buddy? Hey, Cam. He's at my door trying to get in now. I'm not going to let him in. Because there's ammo and stuff in here. He can't come in. But yeah, that's the barometer thing. So hopefully that answered.
Awesome. Nice. And so you're announcing the Bitcoin race next weekend. Are you excited for it? We're sure glad to have you do it.
I'm extremely excited. It's very fun. I like doing that. And I got to record the thing tonight. Give it a good holler.
Yeah, the pump up, the pre-race pump up speech.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that today. It's gonna be good.
I'm trying to enlist my friends to do a little dance number before the race too, and have someone sing the national anthem. So we'll see if we'll see if we can really get that to come together in a week.
When we sing the national anthem, I will discharge my firearms in the air for patriotism. So know what you're signing up for. If you sing the national anthem, I will discharge a 1911 45 ACP into the sky because it won 2 world wars for America. So it's the beach. The beach is not even America. That is technically international waters. So I'll pull some sovereign citizens in with me and have them explain to the cops why what I did was okay.
Nice. And last question, what advice do you have for the younger generation? I think just read the book.
Nah, figure out what you believe before someone figures it out for you. Being able to weigh and measure information by yourself is a really important skill, and being able to argue both sides of something. Doesn't matter what you believe, you have to be able to argue both sides of something to actually know either side of anything. If you can't argue both sides, you're too in the bunker for one of the sides, and you're not going to be able to be objective. If you can't be objective, like I had a nice conversation with a friend of mine where he feels his way about how things are going on in society, and I was like, "But you don't know anything." And he goes, "So what? You can't be that passionate about something you don't know anything about." And he's like, "Well, why not?" Because that's how lynch mobs start. So, if your emotions are just a bunch of loose Pomeranians running around the living room, you're going to do some terrible decision making. Hey, buddy. Okay, I'm coming. All right, I'm going to go pick up my bear.
All right. Well, thank you, Kane. Really appreciate this. Looking forward to the pump up speech and seeing you next week. And thanks for putting this masterpiece out into the world. I think it's going to do a lot of good. Yeah,
absolutely, my pleasure. And I love I got my shirts, by the way, the Bitcoin Circuit shirts. I was going to wear it. It was nice. Clashing. It was clashing with this, and I really wanted to try this on. So, thank you, and I'll see you there. And for everyone who hasn't, you can read the book. It's on Amazon, soon to be on Audible, and obviously the token is much better because you own it and no one can ever take it away from you.
Awesome. Thank you. And from last episode, we got 3 boosts on Fountain. So thank you so much to those who boosted. Dave, Southside Dave, gave us 2,100 sats. That was very generous, Dave. Thank you. He said, keep the music. It gives my 40 hours per week's radio station vibes. If you don't have a local meetup, make one. Great advice. And thanks. I like the music too, but I guess if you're listening on any fast speeds, it kind of throws things off. And then Bubba with 350 sats says, bury the background music. Good show otherwise. So I'll see what my husband wants to do. He's the one that was adding the background music for me, but I like it too. I think it makes it sound really cool. But and then we also, our third one, 100 sats from BTC on board, gave 3 thumbs up. So thank you very much for everyone for boosting.
Get ready for the fight of your life, like the Kumite or a Waffle House in Panama City. Everything in your life has prepared you for this. Bitcoin has prepared you for this. You may be saying to yourself, self? It's just a fun little race on the beach. Wrong, incorrect. It's a race to the finish line of your destiny. I read that on a poster in HR office at my work. I was there for unrelated reasons. Point is, you're gonna run for money on a beach. That makes you borderline an Olympian. This race is a forecast for the rest of your life, and like life, it's fraught with danger. We've placed booby traps all over the sand. There's glue traps, tripwire, and landmines with like half the gunpowder taken out because some of you insisted on bringing your kids. There's a pit that was supposed to have tigers. Sasha would not let me put tigers, so I just got local dogs. Jacksonville stray dogs, beautiful dogs from America that are in a pit. I've been feeding them beef jerky and playing Chicago drill music so they're all turned up. Some of you were athletes in your youth. Well, don't lose this race to a child, because that happens sometimes, and then you don't get the big piece of chicken at dinner. That's not a metaphor, that's hierarchy. Some of these children are aggressive. They listen to Pop Smoke freestyles and are here to dominate your face. This race is serious. We've broken several laws just to provide you with the best Bitcoin race in America, so leave it all on the field. If you fall, it's technically your fault, but spiritually, it's a metaphor for market volatility. but also legally it was definitely your fault. Our lawyers were very clear about that. For tax purposes, this was a charity meet and greet that y'all decided to make it competitive. This is your legacy. This is your destiny. This is enough money to buy whatever you want at several local restaurants. I'm talking buffet appetizers with beverage. We don't test for anything, so if you're not using performance enhancers, shame on you. Look to your left. Now look to your right. Statistically, both of those people are on steroids because they came to win. They're here to be victorious. They will leap over the dog pit with the grace of a gazelle and achieve greatness here today. Are you ready? Because this isn't just cardio. This is conviction. This is volatility. This is Bitcoin.